This is maximum.
The maximum.
Okay, you can go ahead.
We are live now. We are absolutely thrilled today with Joshua Scholten from Peony Shop Holland&Piet van Kampen from G-Fresh in the Netherlands. And believe it or not, they are sitting in the middle of the peony field. Cheers, actually. I mean, we only have water, but you have wine. Tell us a little bit about your current situation in your wonderful peony field.
Well, at the moment, we are in the early mid-season peony flowers. And our very, very early peony varieties are already flowered out. And now we are cutting almost to the very late varieties like Sarah Bernard, Angel Cheeks, Princess Bride, which is over there. It's too much.
Wow. This is unbelievable.
There is just too much to tell. There is too much to tell to show you. So
that is amazing.
Let me tell you about my peony shop. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to say.
I tell only what I know. Yeah. But Joshua can give you much more information. Joshua is not a grower who grows to cut flowers to bring to the auction for export. Yeah. Joshua is a breeder who breeds new varieties, and he has a few hundred, a couple hundred, 800 new species maybe, and he grows the plants, and the plants he exports to growers abroad, but also to peony fans all over in the world. Yeah, and he's also a member of the International Peony Society. So about peonies here, this land where he's breeding new varieties and plants. Yeah. He's doing much more, and you can ask him everything about the peony situation in the world even, yeah? So we are speaking now from a small village with 2,000 people, but his world is much bigger.
I think he has more peonies in the field than people in the village, right?
I don't hear it because of the drone. Sorry, there's a drone in the air and the noise. Can you repeat, please, one more time?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
modern technology.
Yeah, that's a wonderful technology, but I could not hear your question. So
I said you have most probably more peonies in the field than people in your village.
That's true. That's true. We have almost about a few thousand peony seedlings, which are unnamed and only under number. And by the years that goes by, we observe them and we said this can have a name and that can have a name, but it takes a lot of time. It takes almost 10 years before we even think about introducing a peony variety. But
I just wanted to say, maybe walk us a bit through how is the process of a new peony, and I mean, we know that it takes long, but how it actually all starts. So what you do first and what comes then step by step.
Yeah, well, that's quite simple. In the first, in wintertime, you have to ask yourself what kind of colors in the world are not there yet, and what's the big demand from the wedding market. Well, to my opinion, it's a big demand for pastel color peonies. So then you go ahead with your homework, you go to the field and you take the parentages of some certain varieties and you take them and you take some pollen, and you place it on the stem and you just crossbreed it. And after a while, you harvest the seeds, you plant them in big boxes, and after 3-4 years, maybe if you're lucky, there is one flower coming out from it. So that's the very, very start, and then you already need to decide, is the winner or is the no-go? So that's the whole long ending process. But for me, every time when I come in the greenhouse, it's a surprise. So yeah, it takes a long gap, but it's worth all the time that I spent on it.
Yeah. And a good example how long it takes, for example, roses, yeah? Roses, every year we see new varieties, yeah? And a rose variety lasts maybe 10, 15 years in the market in Holland, yeah? And then probably it will continue to be grown in South America or in Kenya, Ethiopia, yeah? In Sarah Bernard, it takes about 20, 25 years. No, sorry, in peonies, it takes about 20, 25 years before you have a variety which is commercial ready.
Yeah.
Wow.
20
So
to
half of
25
a
years.
life.
Yeah, it's half of a life, yeah.
Yeah.
And a good example is a Sarah Bernard, which is still the most popular variety, Sarah Bernard, yeah. But that is crossbreeded in 1890, yeah.
Plus
So,
minus. Yeah.
a long time ago, yeah, 130 years ago, but it's still the winner in the market, and that explains it is very difficult to come up with a new winner. Yeah,
That's
that's
just takes
absolutely
time.
true.
Yeah.
And how long is the Peony shop Holland already like doing what is it doing? So how long are you in the market already? Because when you say it takes such a long time, you must be in the market already for a very long time.
Well, we are pretty young company which is involved in the peony world. There are other generations which are longer in the business than ours. But I can say that my family is already for 4 or 5 generations in the flower horticulture industry. And my farm is already for 30 years in the business. But we started from a different angle. I mean, we started from the cut flower production, and we started up with 8 varieties. And in the late 90s, we started to import new varieties from the United States. And then the craziness about peony started. I mean, we could not stop. And now we have over 500 normal peony varieties on name and thousands of seedlings. So it's a never-ending story now. So 30 years.
Please don't let it. Please don't stop. And how
you have
actually
to,
you said
yeah.
yeah, sorry, just carry on. The delay, sometimes there's a delay.
No problem.
Carry on.
Carry on. Okay. Well, you know, it takes a long time, but you have to sleep and you have to wake up with peonies in your mind, and you have to think, what's next? So now we had the pasta colors, which is fantastic, but we are already busy with blue. I mean, iris blue, magic blue, something like that. It's more lavender blue, but it's difficult. It is very hard.
And
failures.
He drove me crazy 2 years ago, and he made me feel like being in a candy store. And he said, "Piet, I have 3 green varieties." I said, "Show me." But
exactly. I wanted to see them as well.
He had only 1, 2 plants of those green ones, yeah. And till now, I have not seen them, yeah. Every time when I come here, yeah, Piet, now you're too late.
Yeah,
you're
too late.
This reminds me when we go on safari here in Africa, sometimes on the game farms, they drive you and they say, we are going to visit the lions, and then we are going the next day to visit the lions. We are going to visit the lions, but you never see them, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like the northern light of Alaska.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me, you said your family started with the cut flowers. How did actually move happened from the cut flowers to become a breeder? Like what made you the move?
Well, you know, it's like the virus. It's a bad example in the corona time, but you know, once you are infected, you just want to know what we can do more than just normal peony cut flower varieties. And you read all about it. You chat with your American colleagues. They are already like grandpa. I mean, with all respect, they are like 70 or 80. And I am young 40. So you can imagine that I have just spoke with them and then been infected with the whole enthusiasm. And I just started up like maybe 15 years ago with my first peony breeding, and my third crossing was already a double yellow one, which was in that time very special. But now it's like I have plenty yellows.
Yeah, so, I love the yellows, honestly, because they are so soft and fluffy happy. I mean, I and very big. I love them very much. I think we should promote them even much more, particularly here, because most people here in South Africa know the pink ones, the red ones, the white one definitely.
Yeah.
But the yellow are still a bit unknown, and I think that's a good idea. But may I ask a question? Like, when it takes so long to breed these new sorts, these new varieties,
Yeah.
does it mean you have actually to gain the income for this breeding from the sales of the current
Exactly.
varieties?
Yeah. And my current varieties are already in the special high ends, like Pastel Elegance.
Do you know Pastel
Yeah,
Elegance?
it's pastel color.
Or which one? What else you have?
Itch it salmon.
Yeah.
That's itch it salmon. In New Zealand they say itch it, but we say etch it salmon.
Edged,
It's
yeah,
very
yeah,
special.
yeah.
It's
Edged.
very special. It's like a rose form type, and yeah, all the
I
new
worked
ones.
with them already. I did
Yeah.
work with them already.
Yes,
It's beautiful.
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the color
And-
is amazing.
Yeah.
And they are very high in demand in the cut flower industry, and I cannot make enough of them, and they are already sold out within a day.
Yeah,
I mean,
coral is a runner actually, and here in South Africa in particular, people love peony. So this is unbelievable. I mean, there's one flower that everybody loves. This is peonies. It has to go on almost every wedding. Yeah, it is very special to people here in South Africa. And tell me, like, what you, from your perspective, what is your most loved child, let's say like that, what you put the most effort in, or I don't know how to explain it, like,
well, that's difficult, eh? When I don't have children yet, but let's say you have children, you cannot say
no need to.
from which daughter or son you love the most. But on themselves, they're all beautiful, and I think about Peony Maximus. That's a new introduction by me, and it's a double white blush, big peony, as bigger as I can hold in my hands, and
Wow.
it's 2 weeks earlier than the typical red charm. So red
Okay.
charm, we know in the cut flower market, it's the early double to start with. Well, if you can
Yeah.
imagine a double white 2 weeks earlier as red charm, and with a lovely fragrance, well, then I'm sold. So, but maybe
Oh,
about,
wow.
And the diameter open. How
Yeah.
much will it be? How much is that?
I think almost 25 centimeters. Almost.
So
This is
25 cents.
unbelievable.
That is comparable with a very big hydrangea
Yeah.
from the Netherlands.
Yeah, exactly. This is a jumbo hydrangea.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's as big as like a dinner plate. It's really big.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And the fragrance, how do you get the different fragrances actually into the new breedings?
Yeah, that's all about reading books. Maybe boring, but in wintertime you have to read all about the parents. And if you know that there is a lovely fragrance in the ancestry, then you just take these ancestors and hope that this fragrance coming out in your new child. So yeah, that's just maybe luck, or I don't know. It's always with breeding, you think theoretically this and that we make, but yeah, in the end, nature decides.
Aha. So you don't have really
Influence.
an influence. So you can just like try to make the best and
Exactly.
Hope for the best.
hope for the
Exactly.
best.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is like with kids. I mean, like it's really like that.
Exactly. It's like kids. I mean, you can place two children, two people which are in love with each other, but it's not the guarantee that you get the very unique color. But if you do get it, I cannot describe in words how that feel when you come in the first morning when the sun is rising and you see your first flowering from this very unique variety. I mean, like Maximus, nothing else was in flower. Nothing. And only there a big globe of white and pink and fantastic.
one can hear the passion in your voice.
Yeah.
Actually, this is really
If
beautiful. And
if you
maybe,
don't have passion, you never make it in the
yeah,
breeding world.
maybe at the
I want to add something to I want to add something to your question. If he can crossbreed, focused on the fragrance, yeah. Well, he explained you just he can't. But this is one of the criteria for a grower to accept and to continue with the variety, yes or not. And that's why it takes also 20, 25 years long. We have a single Peony and we have the double ones.
Yeah.
Now the market seems to prefer the double ones. But imagine he has a white one with a single petal, with a good fragrance, yeah. Then the question is for him: shall I continue? Will the market buy it? Yes or not?
Yeah.
And it's the same for the production of the plant. How quick does it reproduce? Yeah?
Yeah.
The length of the stem,
Disease.
the vase
Yeah.
life, everything. There's so many criteria.
Yeah.
Which he has to answer before he decides to continue, yes or not. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes almost a lifetime before you can really say, "Hey, this is a winner," because it's
Wow.
in storage. It's good. It's resistance against frost or whatsoever. So it's very hard.
people
for me.
already say you can see the love that you put into your growth when you talk about this. I think this is a big compliment.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
in Holland, all the nurseries, all the growers are family-owned businesses. Yeah, not owned by investors. Yeah, so their first love was the product.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the passion, the time, the devotion, and then you cannot do this even. Yeah, because
Yes.
You
this
are
is
right.
not about money. This is not about money. This is about
Exactly.
because a lot of growers even, well, maybe they break even, maybe they earn a little bit this year, maybe they lose it a little bit last year or next year. But it's not so much the money, but it's the satisfaction of producing a beautiful flower, what makes people happy and smiling, yeah, and what gives them a good feeling as well. That is number one, yeah.
That's
Beautifully put. Yes.
so true. That's so true.
Yeah,
It's
I
never
love
about
how
money.
you described it. Yes.
Yeah. It's if
And maybe
yeah,
carry on.
yeah, but no problem. I mean,
No,
yeah,
I just wanted to say, maybe
Yeah.
at the end, before we actually finish, please let us walk with you through the field. I really want our audience actually have a look.
if you have a few days.
Je kan het nu even doen. Maar dan moet je die camera dus dit moet je naar die bloem draaien.
Yeah.
Joshua will walk. Well, show you the flowers in the near distance here, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
that will
And,
be amazing.
That would be wonderful.
With a close-up, he will try to show the flower as good as possible and to explain you the name.
Yeah.
If you have
Yeah.
questions, ask him while he's walking.
Yeah.
Finished, he comes back to this table.
Yeah.
And then I will introduce you to another guest. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay.
That
No.
Yes.
When he comes back to the table, to the table, because you introduced me as Piet van Kampen, co-founder of G-Fresh. Yeah. But I do a little bit more. So I want to use this opportunity to tell a little bit about floral fundamentals.
Yes, definitely.
The bridge.
You know what? My space was just limited. Actually, how I could put you to introduce.
Okay.
But feel free to introduce whatever you do, Piet. You are actually the godfather of the flowers.
Exactly.
Well, do you know Cracker Lash?
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
Of course.
We
And
had him
Gregor
here
Lash-
already in South Africa. We hosted
Yeah,
this,
he was with you, and he said, "Piet, the next time I go, you join me." I said, "Yes, yes, Gray, I do that." Yeah, but he calls me World Flower Daddy.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I
Okay,
agree. I agree.
I give you the phone to Joshua, and
Yeah.
he will walk with you through the field. Yeah.
Yeah, I will do my best.
Yes, wonderful. Thank
Okay.
you, Josh.
Okay, here we go. Here is a coral charm.
Can you put the phone a bit closer, the camera to the? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh.
That's the coral charm, which is fading away from pink to yellow blend and orange. So we all love that in the flower world. And then
But can
Yeah.
I ask you a question?
Yes.
There's not every a salmon peony that fades. There's only the coral charm. There's others like sunset. They don't fade so much. Why is that?
Yeah, why is that? That's a good question. Some peonies just have this fading away, and some stick on the same color. I don't have really a good answer to this.
Aha. Okay.
That's
No problem. No problem.
okay.
Just walk. Okay. Just walk us through the field.
I have here a very beautiful big one. That is angel cheeks.
Oh, angel cheeks.
It's a
That is
bomb
a real
pink.
angel. Wow.
Yeah, that is very really one of my favorites.
Yes.
Very lovely fragrance.
And how
So
high, actually, that is amazing.
yeah, you want the question?
I said
No.
very high is very high also.
Yeah.
Very like
Lush also. It has a very lush feeling.
Yeah. Now I try to get you moving to the very exclusive Loreley. One moment.
Okay.
We're excited.
You're flying. Hope you can see them.
Yes. Oh.
That's Loreley. It's a tomato red peony variety, which is fading away like the coral sunset. So it's really a special, unique color, which is not already yet on the market. So I think the Loreley will come as cut flower to the market already, but in very small amounts. But very special.
That's beautiful. Wow. It's like a dreamy walkway.
Yeah. Now I will go to another field quickly. Which is not yet in flower, but this is name it to Piet. This is Pietertje vriend.
Really? Wow.
And Pietertje is special because of its speckled pink petals. But yeah, it's still raw, so I can not show it to you yet. But the neighbor of Pietertje is Princess Bride.
Oh wow.
Has already a royal name.
Yeah.
Princess Bride. It's just one of my most favorites, with a lovely fragrance and a really good peony price on the market helps as well. They are about €1 each. So yeah, it's give you satisfied.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
It's stunning.
It's just too much to show you in one time, but I can. Maybe you see it.
Yes,
I mean, it's just incredible. Like the amount of peonies that you have there. You must like understand. In South Africa, we have not had a single flower for like imported for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
So we like when we see this, like we are in a very happy place.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? It's actually my anniversary today. So you give me actually the best flowers I could ever get.
Yes.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. If I could export you today, but yeah, unfortunately. But I have to say,
a space shuttle full.
Sure. I will do that. I have to say, we are exporting peony roots also to South Africa as well. So we are doing our promotion for the peony flowers worldwide. So maybe one day you can also buy this Princess Bride in your local store.
That would be amazing. But it also takes about a couple of years, right?
Yes.
When you plant, you need about 4 or 5 years before the plant actually has enough like flowers to cut. Correct?
Exactly. It takes like four years before the plant starts into peony flower production. But I think it's all worth it to wait and to wait on the cut flower production coming up, and then in the next. The sunshine is a little bit in the screen, but
No problem.
it's it takes time, but that's also the passion of every grower. Wait and have patience and wait that your cut flower fields are full, and it's hard to explain the passion, but
No, you cannot explain the passion, but you see the passion and you hear the passion and your expression and how you hold the peony and how you're speaking about them. And I think that is already something that says it all. So we are already peony lovers and peony infected in the best possible way. And it's beautiful. And I mean, it's really a stunning peony that you're holding there. For brides, and I mean for any other event that is white, it's just amazing.
Tell us, a lot of people asking, like, what can they do when peonies too closed and they want to open them, maybe for an event? Is there a little trick what one can do?
Of course.
That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the second nice part of growing peonies. I mean, it's like testing in a laboratory. We growers, we hold them in the cooler, and as long as you hold them in the cooler, close in bud, let's say I take this peachy and it's too raw, and when you keep it in the cooler for, let's say, 2-3 weeks, and you take it out and you place it on fresh water, it will bloom. Every flower just needs a certain week or period of cold period, and then it helps to get the flower more open. And of course, you can also help it with a little bit sugar and so on. We have our special liquids, which we just add on every bucket of flowers, so that the end consumer always have flowering peonies, and not like the Dutch. With all respect, they love raw, and they love, let's say, this is Monsieur.
Yes.
They like to see it all day like this.
No.
Because they are happy that they paid so less for 10 days of flour. Well, it's like, I love to see it like this in the second day. And not to wait like
just skipping a beat.
Exactly. So to answer your question in very good, I would say place the peony flowers in the fridge, in the cooler, and hold them for 2-3 weeks. Recut them, place them on water, maybe a little bit sugar, and that's the whole trick. Of course, better is just to cut them a little bit more ripe, like like chocolate. You choose them when they are very good, like it have to be tasty and not like yeah, it's hard to explain, but
but we do understand. But tell me,
it just
when people not have maybe 3 weeks time, what is a quick solution to open up a peony?
Yeah, well, then you just open a little bit the side bud. I mean, the bud, no, okay, I show you
on the bud.
here. Yeah, in Japan, they also do it. They open.
Okay.
I will try to make it in the screen.
Yes. Yeah.
And they just open. You just remove it, the protection, and that will help a lot.
Okay. Okay.
But if you don't do it, then it just holds.
To know.
Yeah, it's just open the flower a bit and retrimming every day. That's always good, because if you don't do it and you just don't refresh the water, I mean, peonies are very sensitive for bacterial. That's why we growers, we add a little bit chlor into the water that kills the bacterial. And every time when you refresh the water and you retrim the stems, and of course you help the flower a bit, like I did, then it will flower.
Can you show us a little bit more of the peonies, please?
Huh?
Some more peonies, please.
Yes, I try. I try.
Maybe do you have some yellow ones there?
the yellow ones are unfortunately already flowered out because they are very, very early. But maybe if you give me 5 minutes, I will walk very fast.
Okay, just walk us through. Maybe take the phone and let the phone like be on the flowers that people
of
can
course.
see the flowers. Yeah,
This is Joker.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is Joker. I will walk to the yellow. I hope you can see it.
Yes, we do.
It's still a little bit further.
No problem. It's all good. So you do
my
your
field,
exercise this evening.
my field is almost 500 meters long, so it's 1,500 feet.
Wow.
So
Wow. How many people do you employ? Like, how many people do you need to take care of such a big field?
I think to make the good selection, we need about 4 or 5 people that are daily walking into it to select and to breed maybe another 2. But in the end, to make the product ready for export, peony propagation, dividing, cleaning, I think we work with almost 30 persons.
Wow.
30 persons in the season. The yellows are there.
Ah!
Yay!
Like I said, they are a little bit already out of flowering, but I will try to show you.
Yes,
yeah,
please.
we can't wait
Still
to
Joker,
see it.
Joker.
Yeah.
And here is another big red one.
Yes.
Oh, with a yellow center.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Yeah, this
nice.
is Magan Grant.
Yeah.
This is a very large red one, very good production. Very nice.
Yes.
Wow.
Such a vibrant color.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So finally we come to the yellow, which I already said.
And
It's
look at
only
the contrast just next to the red
Yeah.
one. Oh.
it's
So
only
beautiful.
the side buds are flowering, and the main flower is already flowered out.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flowered out.
Can you?
Some old
Yeah,
ones.
exactly.
Yeah.
Show us a little bit like the flower. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
this one.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Lemon
Yeah.
chiffon.
Wonderful.
These
Yes.
are one of the
Yeah. Lemon chiffon.
they are
I
one
got
of
to
the
know
very
lemon
early.
chiffon a couple of years ago. It was beautiful, and they were so long lasting. I was actually very afraid that it will not last because it opened quite quickly, but it lasted very long. I was very much surprised.
They stand for at least 1 week if you harvest them good, and of course it depends of if you harvest them from 2 years old or from 10 years old plants. I mean, the more age, the more double. It's like a good wine.
Okay.
More years takes more better flower quality.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, that's why it's so
we can
difficult.
adapt to that comparison.
Yeah, that's why it's so difficult with peonies to select them and say you're not in my A selection, and next year it surprised you like, hey, you're so double, and look, here I am, I'm a star. But yeah,
We would already have a very hard time to select because I think we would always take all of them, like, and we couldn't like put anyone to the side.
I could not be in your job because I would keep them all for me.
they said the best breeders are throwing away as much as they can, and they only hold like 10. But you know what? I am a different breeder. I keep them.
Yeah, that's nice.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I mean, it's heartwarming to see that.
It's very lovely. Eh? I mean, I can stand here for all week, all day, but yeah.
But I think maybe we'll need to go back to Piet, to our godfather.
Yeah.
Yes, because wait, you have here the etched salmon.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That's nice. Yeah. It almost looks like one of these peony roses, right? Like wonderful.
Exactly. Well, I will try to run fast back to the godfather.
No need to run. But this is just, look at the size. I mean,
Yeah.
when you see it now, actually in comparison to your face,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
amazing. The size is just
exactly.
incredible.
And may I ask you the
Yeah.
size? Is it like we notice from roses, the longer the roses actually on the stem, also the bigger the head gets. And sometimes when they are harvested too early, they don't get so big. Is this the same like with the peonies?
Yeah, you can compare that plus minus the same. I mean, when you harvest them from the plant, they won't be that big on the vase life, and well, you just let them on the plant, and it just has the extra energy from the plant, I guess, and gives the flower
Yeah.
extra boost to make it much better. So yeah, I think that's true.
And which status do you think is the best for traveling, like for the peonies? I mean, like this is far too open for traveling, right? So
Yeah,
which
this is
opening
far too.
status for you
Yeah.
is
Which,
the best?
well, when the peony is soft, still close in bud, I will try to show you with Coral Charm.
Yeah. Okay.
Even though it's a small bud, I think this is like excellent to ship it like this. I mean, it
Okay.
have to be a little bit open, a little bit. I can, when you can feel it with your fingers, it's soft. Then it's good to go. But if you let it go with a loose petal, then I think most flowers are already like boom in the box. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't want that. So it's like, show you one more, like this. This is the best way for
Yes.
Coral Charm. But I also have to explain you guys. I mean, every peony variety have a different way of cutting them.
Sure.
It's not like a general hey, we all cut
Rule.
all peony
Yeah.
flowers like this. I mean, that's impossible. So that's why you also have to learn about your peony, which is the best way, which is the best time to cut.
Yeah.
And particularly when you say coral charm, the coral charm is one of the actually peonies that opens incredibly quick.
Exactly, because it's a
Is
semi-double.
there, yeah.
It's a
Is there
semi-double, like,
anything
yeah. When
to
it's
hold them back from opening?
If you have a semi-double or whatsoever, a single, it opens much quicker, of course.
Yeah.
And when you have an intensive double, then it slows down with opening, and you have more time to harvest.
It's just beautiful.
Here I will show you a little bit red charm.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh wow. Amazing. And now even the sunset, like it's beautiful sun into those amazing flowers.
Lovely, eh?
Oh my goodness. Can we just admire it for a second?
Sure.
Just don't
I
talk
leave
and
you
just
here.
admire
I
it
will
for a
tell to the
second.
Godfather that
It's amazing. It's so beautiful. I mean, you have one of the most beautiful jobs in the world, my friend.
Yeah.
I am very happy and I am blessed that I can do this job every day.
Yes.
Wonderful.
It's all about the one moment for the grower to see its children
Wow.
flowering like this, and that is all worth the whole job. I mean, it's not only about flowers. I mean, sometimes you are working in the mud and we think, are we crazy? But hey, if we see it like this is where you do for it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. I totally agree with you.
and of course,
You've done a wonderful job. I mean, your job is basically to make other people happy, even happier than you are yourself, because you know that people like that flowers that you hold in your hands are used like at weddings, like the once in a lifetime moment of a lot of people. Oh, wow.
the
What
coral
is
sunset.
this?
Coral
Coral
sunset. It's
sunset.
fading.
Wow. It looks
It's fading
more
away.
pink, actually, than salmon.
Maybe it's
Yeah,
Very
now
nice,
I
yeah?
can see. Yeah,
the
now
sun.
I see
Yeah,
it.
now.
Wow.
It's one of my special corals. Coral
Yes.
Sunset, yeah. Except the breeder of Coral Sunset and Coral Charm was not thinking about a lovely fragrance for them. I mean, that's the only negative what I can tell as a breeder. They are lovely in color, they are like magic, but the fragrance, it's like, yeah, you're nice, but stay away for 2 meters.
But you don't want to say it has a bad fragrance, right?
Yeah,
That's just not a good fragrance.
not a good fragrance. I cannot say this on live stream, but you know what I'm thinking.
Now you can say everything. It's just the three of us, you know.
Exactly. So
No, but so
now
beautiful.
I am back to the Godfather.
Oh
Okay.
yes.
To the Pitisha.
Last Peony's here.
Oh wow.
Amazing.
I'm sorry that I was away for a day or two, but the ladies could not resist.
My God, did you have so many questions, or is he speaking non-stop?
No, I mean it was both. I would say it was both.
It was amazing. Thank you so much, Joshua. Really, it
You're
was
welcome.
amazing that you showed us around. It was really so, as I can just say, heartwarming to see all those beautiful blooms, the colors, and like in the evening sunshine right now. Such a beautiful thing. Thank you very
perfect.
much.
Thank you,
Yeah.
and thank
And,
you for doing this job.
Did he mention his website?
No, not yet.
Not
He,
yet.
he has a website.
Yeah.
That's why his name is My Peony Shop. And the intention of him is to sell plants. Yeah. So Joshua, what is your web shop?
My
Address.
website address is peonyshop.com. So PONY shop.com. I mean, can't miss.
Pete, can I ask you a question? If people
Yeah.
in South Africa want to order peonies from Joshua, can we put this on our shipments?
Well, he ships worldwide. Yeah.
Yeah, we ship worldwide the peony plants, which I really have to say. When you want flowers, I have Pete here. I mean, Pete can arrange the flowers.
Okay.
That's the Godfather. But for peony plants, you can go directly to
Wonderful.
peonyshop.com. And
We will recommend everyone towards you.
okay, very good.
Okay,
Thank you very
Joshua,
much.
Joshua, your time is over.
Yes,
Bye.
I go.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, because
I'm out.
I want to say a few words to you followers, yeah, and to the people in South Africa, but everybody, of course, who is watching worldwide, yeah. A few words about floral fundamentals, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Well, you know, I'm a very passionate flower boy, yeah, and I spend a
Yes.
lot of time with breeders because I always want to be the first one who finds the cherries, yeah. But besides it, I maintain a good relation with growers, yeah. Because I want the supply as well, the cherries, yeah. And I maintain a good relation with my customers, yeah. What we have seen is that the consumer buys a product produced and manufactured by a grower and a florist, yeah. And sometimes in between, exporters, wholesalers, importers, whatever, yeah. But we also noticed that those all those people in the chain doesn't communicate together. However, we supply the same customer, the consumer, and that's why we said in 2010, let's connect the florist with the grower. Yeah, and we made a platform of growers called GFresh. And GFresh is a platform where the growers announce the quantities, what they produce the next day, and the price they want. The price they want is for 90% based on the auction price of today. And the other 10% is their personal feeling. How's the weather? Is the holiday over or is there a holiday upcoming? Yeah. And all those growers, 65 growers, they belong to the top in their product group. Yeah. There is no overlap. Yeah. So from all products, only one grower, with a few exceptions. Lysianthus we have 2, and Red Naomi, which is a very popular rose. Yeah, we have 3 growers. Yeah.
Yes.
But the florist gets to know the grower, and they can communicate together, yeah, and they can exchange information, the energy, the love, the passion of the grower, what he does for the environment, for the society, yeah. A lot of information what the florists can use in their storytelling in the shop, because when you only sell a product at a price, you will never be successful, yeah.
Yeah.
When you have all the additional information, the product information, we are not salespeople, we are advisors, yeah. And when you're not an advisor to your customer, it is very difficult to make the extra cent, yeah.
Yeah, and I
And
think
it's about the story, you know.
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
and this is what I also, or what we love
Yeah.
about you. You tell stories, and I think people like want to hear those stories. We all want to know, like for example, when we buy meat, where does the meat come from? You know, like how is it grown? Like how do the cows feel? Whatever. Like this is the same with the flowers.
Exactly.
We want to know, like where are those flowers coming from? And like now with Joshua, to see like his heart and soul is like put into those peonies, and just to see like where those things are coming from. This is super important.
Exactly. And this aspect is getting only more and more important since the COVID-19. People,
Yes.
they behave different, yeah.
Yeah.
They care more, yeah. They understand more, they share more, but they are also more aware of how they stand in life, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
The rat race, the craziness to let's say you live in Amsterdam, to go shopping in London this weekend, next week in Paris, yeah. We change our way of living, yeah, and that also includes that the sustainability, you know, environmentally friendly growing flowers, yeah, is getting so
Yeah.
important, yeah, because this is what the consumer wants to know, yeah, and
Yes.
so
And I think it's
that,
very important what you said also, to get the consumer understanding of how much effort it needs to grow a product. And I mean, like even now, then we hear like how long it takes to get into a new variety. That gives me as a consumer a totally different understanding of why a peony has a price, a certain price, and cannot be cheap. It's something different from a
well,
seed that grows out
it,
every year in your garden.
if you want that the growers stay in business, the flowers cannot be cheap, because they need a certain cost price plus, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
flowers worldwide are still expensive. And why is it so expensive? Because there are so many parties involved, yeah. When I go to the auction and when I see somebody on the auction floor and I ask him, what is your profession? He might tell me, Pete, I'm a salesman at this company and I'm inspecting what is new today, yeah. And when I ask him, what do you sell? He probably will sell, I sell fresh flowers, yeah. And when I ask an importer what he sells, he probably will say, I sell fresh flowers. And when I ask a florist, what do you sell? She probably will say, or he, fresh flowers. And when I ask the consumer, what did you buy today? Oh, a bunch of fresh flowers. But traveling the world, yeah, and since the 70s I traveled the world and I've been everywhere, yeah. And I figured out, and it's later confirmed, that the average flower worldwide is 11, 12 days old before it comes from the nursery to the table. 12 days is not a big problem as long as it's stored, temperature controlled on half degree non-stop.
Yeah.
But with so many people involved, it goes cooler in, cooler out, cooler in, cooler out. And the humidity is killing for the vase life of the flowers. Yeah, that's why I say buy as close as possible to the source, and only use people who add something to the product, not to the price, to the quality of the product. Yeah. So to help the florist, I said, okay, let's connect them, and we did this via GFresh. But as I said, it's not only product and price. Yeah, it's also information and to inspire. Therefore, in 2014, together with Alison Bradley from Fusion Flowers. Fusion Flowers is an international magazine with subscribers in 75 countries worldwide. Yeah? And
they even sent to South Africa.
I know, everywhere. When I come to Japan, oh, Fusion Flowers, Fusion Flowers, Fusion Flowers. And anyhow, traveling the world, I did meet Alison one day, and I realized that this person, she knows what is going on in the floristry world worldwide. Yeah. And in 2014, I had a question, and I said, how can I bring G-Fresh closer to the florist? Why? Because when I offer G-Fresh, the platform of the growers, to the importer will say, well, I'm not going to give a link to my florist, yeah, because then next year you supply them. So they are in the barrier, yeah, and therefore I went to Alison and I said, I need your help, darling. How can I reach the florist, yeah? And she saw, and I also explained how growers in 2010, after the crisis of 2008, suffered, yeah? And family companies, they disappeared, yeah, and disaster. And she said to me, Piet, I see what's going on in the floristry world, yeah? How some florists battle with the supermarkets every day.
Yeah.
And I said, well, if
Big
they battle,
all over the world.
I said, if they battle, they did not understand where their place is, yeah? They have to distinguish themselves, yeah? And to realize what can the supermarket offer better and what not, yeah? And there's one thing they cannot offer, the personal touch and information.
Correct.
So we said together, you know what, let's connect growers and florists.
Cheers, Piet. I think that
Yes.
is really what you said. That's absolutely true.
And so we said in 2014, beside product and a good price, because, well, when you buy as direct as possible, you cut out expenses, yeah? G-Fresh is probably the source with the lowest add-on cost, yeah? Because we don't need buyers, we don't need salespeople. The growers offer and the customer buys. And we only provide logistics and finance. Mm-hmm. So, but in 2014, Alison and I said, okay, we have the florists who struggle, we have the growers who struggle, let's connect them and let's get them to talk, yeah? And we wondered how. And then we said, let's make a magazine. And in this magazine, we put reports of designers, reports of growers, yeah? To show the face behind a flower, yeah? Or to explain the florist how a designer became successful, yeah? Why he went for flowers, what made him successful, what is social media meaning for him, yeah? Etc. And we said, but how
Pete, sorry to interrupt you, but this is also a big step moving forward in our industry, because I mean, you said you started this in 2010. We started this session here just like a couple of weeks ago, because actually as an initiate of the COVID situation. But we also have to deal in our industry with a lot of closed doors. People don't talk to each other. People keep things very much disclosed. And we personally believe that our industry must open up. People need to talk to each other. Farms need to talk to their consumers. And exactly that's why we have been so happy actually today to introduce the Peonies and the farm. And we also spoken to other rose farms already and to a local farm. This is what I think is necessary to open up and to get a connection
and a common understanding, and
exactly.
The appreciation for the flower, whatever flower it is, will only come from the information that you have about a certain thing. So the more information is out there, the more the people can be informed. And I mean, we have a general, I mean, it's not like South Africa or generally Africa is not like in Europe, where you actually, when you are a florist, you have to go through certain training, you have to go through certain steps to actually understand also like where flowers are coming from, how they are grown, what needs to go into like breeding or growing, or just even what is available in the market. So for us here in South Africa, or even on the African continent, this is fairly new. That we like open up like everyone like to actually see like where the source is like really. So and we are very happy about it, because we believe that transparency is the key to success.
Yeah.
And
you still have a surprise for us, right?
we offer every day about 3,000-4,000 different flower items. But a florist, how many different flowers do you see in a florist shop? 30, 40? I don't know, something like that. Some big shops, of course, more. And it's not necessarily that the florist knows all the ins and outs of all the different flowers there are. But they should make a choice. They should make a choice. Who is my customer? Is this the modern guy who doesn't have time, who wants to take away something? Is it the classical person who wants a beautiful arrangement with a story? You have to choose your customer. And when you choose your customer, you choose also, as a consequence, the product. And with the 80-20 rule, you have to analyze and conclude what are the most important 20% flowers my market needs. And of those flowers, you got to know everything. And about those flowers, you need the growing details, but you also need to know the fun facts in a shop, because behind every flower is a history, a story.
Yeah, definitely.
And there are also fun facts and behind every flower. And if one fun fact, sharing this with your customer, when he bears this in mind, this is the motivation for him for a return purchase.
Yes.
So it's so this is so important. Now that's what we try to achieve with the floral fundamentals. A lot of information from florists and growers, because together they are the people who know it all. To share this with the florist, and 4 times per year we publish a free digital magazine. And in this magazine, the people find about 70 different designs made by top designers. And when I say top designers, Alex Joy, world champion.
Top designer.
Alex Joy, world champion, is of the part of the family. Stein Ara Hansen, world champion, is part of the family. Barta Sam will probably join next year. Natalia Zitsko from Russia, European champion and second in the world, is member of the family. And altogether we have 150 designers, the highest top and average, plus young talent. Because besides working with big names, we also try to spot young talents, people of 25 years with passion for the job, who wants to make a career, and we help those as well to give a platform and to show their work to the world. Now, all this work, plus the stories of the designers, plus the stories of the growers, is free of charge when the people go to their app store, Floral Fundamentals, and you can download the app for free. Or if you want to see it on
I
your
think that's very inspirational
for
a lot of people.
Or when you go, so the app store is for the smartphone and the tablet, And if you want to have it on your computer, on your desktop, you go to the website of Floral Fundamentals, www.floralfundamentals.com, and you can ask for a login, and there you get also access to all this information.
Great.
And
you are the best flower ambassador I have ever met.
I don't know, but I would say encourage all your florist customers to have a look at it. Now, beside that,
we will put it
also
on the Facebook. Don't worry, we will put it on the Facebook when we actually repost it, and we will put this on the Facebook.
Yes, definitely. So thank you so much for also like
and on your website you can put the logo of Floral Fundamentals with a link for your customers to link direct to ask for a login. Now,
we will definitely do that, Piet. And you have still a surprise for us.
No, 1 second. I want to say something else, but now you interrupt. But I have a surprise also for you, yeah? No,
Oh,
what I
didn't
wanted
want
to
to
say is,
interrupt.
okay, my customers, yeah, are importers, wholesalers, yeah. But since about 10 years as well, the wedding and the event designers. And
Yes.
we have a mutual friend, Karen Tran. Um, you have seen her several times. She was there in South Africa. And we did christen a tulip in her name 5 years ago.
Yes.
Not only in the name of Karen Trent, but also David Beam and other people who are true ambassadors of this industry. Yeah? And in a neighbor village is a friend of me living, Frank Timmerman. And Frank Timmerman is the breeder of the Karen Trent tulip. Frankie! Kom eens!
Pietje and Frankie. That is
And,
good.
Frankie is the breeder of well, when you speak with him, he's also fully passionate. Yeah? And he's the breeder of the Karen Trent tulip. I know that you are screaming for years for the Karen Trent.
Yeah,
He always,
yeah,
Pete, there
that's
is,
true.
I want. And I always have to give you a not so satisfying answer. But, please repeat this question to him.
Now.
Oh,
This is
thank you.
Now is the time.
Frank Timmerman. Hello.
Hello, Frankie Chef. Frankie Chef. So
Hi.
this is now actually the first time that we meet like somehow in person. And
Yeah.
as Pete said, we are very, very happy that you are a big surprise to us because we didn't even know that you will come to our little show, let's say like that. And tell us a little bit about this specific tulip and also the current Tran tulip. Please promise me like next year we will have someone, please.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one because we're sitting now in the peony field, and this Karen Trent tulip, it's a peony tulip, so it looks almost like a peony flower, but yeah, this is quite different. But it's the tulip Karen Trent. We baptized it several years ago, but this year we had it first time on a market scale testing. That means we were growing like 4,000 or 5,000 pieces of it in the greenhouse, and they they succeeded in all the way. Because first, when you breed a tulip, the current Trent tulip we started more than 20 years ago to create it, and then every year it multiplies by 2.3 each year. So now this year and next coming years it will have availability for the market. And the test this year, we tested already, but this year was really excellent. And the first florist could buy it on the auction in Aalsmeer. We did
I
sell
was
it.
following this when Pete actually went to you and he said, "This is the first bunch, and I'm going to put this on the auction." And then he came back and he said it went very, very well. So
Yeah, exactly.
I was very sad actually that due to COVID, we have not been able to import like flowers since end of March. There was just no possibility. So actually, the current Tran tulip, we missed out.
But can I ask you, because we know what we talk about, if you would have to describe the Karen Tran tulip, like color, and you said peony tulip, but just describe the tulip, like from your own view, like what is a Karen Tran tulip, that everyone who is maybe now listening, like understands what the tulip is all about.
Yeah, first of all, the Karen Tran tulip is it's clear white. It's really, really white. And it presents when it's before it's coming in bloom with this very nice presentation. But once a consumer or florist gets it in the vase, in the vase, what's the word? Vase, yeah. Then it changes every day, but it stays more than 9 days. It's on this vase, but it's really every day you got a different tulip. And it's strong. It smells nice, and that's one part of it, which the most important part. But for the growers they it's growing flower bulbs, and they need a production of it. When it's nice, but it needs also to grow well and not be sensitive for diseases or viruses in this period. But it's tulips the same. And this Cancan tulip is really
Bless you.
it's successful in production way for the grower to have on his field, but also for the guy who the grower who makes flowers of it. It's also very good. So it does grow in a short time. In the 20 days, it's from one flower bulb when you get in the greenhouse. It's flower, so that's quite fast for a double tulip, peony tulip. And normally peony tulips are late. They are growing only in February or in March. But this Cancan tulip is also early one.
When you say late and early, because we are on the opposite side of the world, what is like actually your tulip season? Like when it starts and when it's finished?
Okay, yeah, I did not ask you where you are at the moment.
South Africa.
South Africa. Okay. Next year I will come there in winter then. That's better for us.
Yes, definitely. No. Then we have summer here.
Most welcome.
Yeah, now the season, the tulip season starts in January and end of December, and then you have flower bulbs that are grown in Holland, and then the season goes up to till now. Now it's late, but a lot of growers they produce till April, and a few of them go beyond May, and now it's ending. Because now like we have peonies, you have to also like the seasonal flowers, Because I like, I'm sitting here with my friends and with Joshua and with Piet, and now we're enjoying the peony season. So that's also nice.
We're speaking about tulips, and Frank said our season is from mid-December, end of December, till the end of March, And then you probably said to yourself, yeah, but shit, I can buy tulips in June as well. Now, that is true. Tulips you can buy year-round now, The production time of a tulip is about 3 to 4 weeks. So if I tell a grower now, hey, buddy, on the 1st of August, I need 10,000 white, he can grow them for me, He takes the bulbs out of the fridge, cleanse them. 3-4 weeks later, we have the tulip, But
it's a spring flower.
The production January, March. The production January, March are Dutch grown bulbs, And the bulbs are flowering in the summertime. Those are often from New Zealand and from other parts of the world, About the Karen Trent tulip, Peony and the Karen Trent tulip, it looks very similar. What is a characteristic of the Karen Trent? It opens fast. There are tulips selected especially because of the shape, a point form. And when it's a point formed tulip, and I don't speak about the pencil tulip, but a point form, it opens slowly. And some tulips don't open fully, But Karen Trent opens rather fast and shows all her beauty, like a peony. But it stays this way for another 5-6 days, And I think
this is actually very nice, because sometimes you have tulips, as you say, they open quite quickly, and like after 2-3 days they are gone.
So for me it's an amazing tulip, because when it opens up after a couple of days, the diameter of the tulip, and that is very good for wedding work as well. The diameter is huge, So it covers a big space in your design,
Exactly. This is what event designers want. I mean, this is exactly why Karen Trent is, the correct name, like patron for it, because she does stunning events. So that's for sure gonna show off at any event.
Frankie, tell me, like when we are talking about this opening up, when you as a breeder have to get one of these requirements that a tulip need to open up completely, like how do you actually achieve that?
Just a little bit of luck. No.
I get to know that the whole flower industry is all a little bit of luck.
Exactly. Okay, when you breed tulip, make new varieties, maybe Joshua told them about his story. Like tulips, it's quite similar. Okay, well, first of all, you make a crossbreeding with two
Father and
tulips,
mother.
father and mother, that have both some special, yeah, how you call it, special
Characteristics.
characteristic, yes. And then you got these new ones, but then you have to select it very well. You have to test it very good, eh? And you only need to keep what's really good. And what a good breeder, eh? A good cross breeder. The first thing is that you only keep what's really the best. It needs to be better than there is already, and that's what we are. Yeah, I'm very experienced in, and you learn it. Wow.
When we crossbreed the tulips between the father and the mother, the next year we have hundreds of seeds, yeah, maybe thousands of seeds even.
Yeah.
And in those seeds, from the same parents, yeah, there are different colors, different shapes even, yeah. And when it becomes the second year a small bulb, they start to plant the bulb, yeah. And then out of that full selection, they have to choose something, yeah. But they know very little at that moment, because after 5 years, when they can make some really tests, yeah, it is about production per square meter, resistant against diseases, yeah, how does it open, how is it in transport? There's so many points to consider as well. He said 20 years ago, he crossbreeded Karen Tran. 20 years ago, eh?
Wow, unbelievable.
Yeah,
I think you have to have a lot of patience being a breeder. This is what we all learned tonight.
Yeah.
I think we all have to take our hat off for you, what you are doing for our industry. You bring actually with your patient the most beautiful flowers onto all our table. And we are very happy actually to be able to sell them to our florists, to our consumers.
We will get definitely the first ones in December, you said, right?
No. One second. This year we did auction a few buckets, yeah, and there is a difference in the quality of the tulip grown outside and grown inside, yeah. So when you look at the current trend in the tulip field outside, you might say wild, short, but when we produce them in a few, and only a few, because we still multiply the bulbs, yeah, just make production of bulbs, yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
So but the test was so successful. 40 centimeter tulip, yeah, 42. No, it was 37 gram per stem. Beautiful, strong, straight, and fantastic presentation. And everybody who saw it loved it. So next year we do a few again. But if you really want to be assured that let's say you have an event next year in February, the 20th, yeah. If you tell Frank in October or whenever, better Frank tells this, I need 2,000 stems or 3,000 stems on the 20th of February, he can produce them for you. As long as you know it in advance. And if not, then you have to wait till April. Then we will bring maybe 4 or 5 buckets to the auction, yeah. And even a guy gives 2-3 cents more at the clock, you have nothing, yeah. So whether you can see them next year is depending on yourself.
Yeah, because that's just technical thing.
We will make a plan. We don't have yet a bride for the next February 14. I think we will maybe hopefully get one. Or we will postpone her wedding towards the tulip season.
But a technical question, Frank. To produce tailor-made for a customer in February this tulip, when do you have to know this?
That needs to know in September, even beginning of September, because it's very technical thing. If we produce tulips, it's we need to program in one week of even in days, because the tulip needs a certain time of winter that we give artificially in our cool store. So programming tulips, it's a very specializing thing. So, but if you need it, if you want something, then I can program it. And mostly I make my programs even in August. But everything is possible.
We're gonna make a plan.
We make a plan.
Yeah. Okay.
We will have Peony tulips.
Okay. I surprise you with Frank. I have another surprise. I have a barbecue in the field now with the families. Yeah. So, are there more questions? Because if not, we go to the barbecue.
Wow, we got a barbecue.
Yeah,
Please,
they are waiting already there.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So,
Oh, wow.
That's amazing. No, thank you so much. We don't have any questions, but I think you are hungry because it's like 7:15 already. And that's like perfect barbecue time. Thank you so much,
exactly.
Frank and Pete.
And
For,
if you want to reach Frank, Frank is also on Facebook, and he's called the Tulip Specialist. Yeah. If you want to communicate direct with Frank because you have a technical question which I cannot answer anyhow, I will give you with pleasure his email address. Yeah.
Wonderful.
And anyhow, whenever you have a question, I'm 7 days, 24 hours available. Yeah, on email, messenger,
I
WhatsApp, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you so much, guys. It was actually very, very nice having you here. It's already pitch dark here because it's winter. And I'm absolutely jealous that you can sit there in the sun and having a barbecue.
Exactly.
Well,
Enjoy it. Thank you for your time and all the best. Stay safe.
Thank you.
And
At your service.
well.
And
Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.